Welcome to Renovation Conversations, the podcast where we explore how God is rebuilding lives, restoring hope, and renewing faith. Whether you're just starting your spiritual journey or looking for inspiration to keep growing, this is the place for honest discussions, transformative stories, and practical biblical insights. Let's dive into what it means to live a life under renovation, because God's not done with us yet.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back to another episode of Renovation Conversations. I about said the wrong podcast title. That would have been bad. Of course, if you guys are familiar with our church, you know that my co-host is in Nicaragua, so he is out of the country. And yesterday I preached, and it's funny because I was sitting here last night, and me and Terry's talking. I'm like, well, who should I bring onto the podcast because when Dustin's gone or I'm gone. Actually, if Dustin's gone, I pick somebody. If I'm gone, nobody does it because it's all my stuff. So, but we were sitting there last night, and then you texted me.
Yeah.
Out of the blue.
Yeah, and it's just something that was on my mind, and I wanted to reach out. So.
And so you were one of the ones I was thinking about anyways.
Sure.
So when you texted me, I'm like, hey, that's not by accident.
Yeah.
And so this is Matt.
Yep.
I have another name for him.
McLovin.
I call him McLovin.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you guys, I'd never even seen that movie. I just know the reference. Like, I know it's a bad movie.
Right.
But I started calling you that, and it took me a while to call you to your face.
Yeah.
But I
think Tara spilt the beans.
Yeah, she did. But then I heard that there's other people that say that.
I've heard it numerous times in my life.
I'm sure you have. So,
but anyways,
so I was thinking about somebody, and you text me, and so here we are.
Yeah.
And of course, you were there yesterday. It's one thing I love about you and your family. I get to see you a lot.
Yeah.
And that's
we
important.
try not to miss. I mean, sometimes when kids are sick, but other than that, we want to be there Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yeah, and you have little kids.
Yes.
So there is times
it's hard.
There is times that you don't get to make it, which I totally get.
Sure.
But he'll tell you if he doesn't make it, usually he gets harassed by me.
Yeah.
But
I'll get a text, hey, we missed you Sunday.
But that's just because I want to make sure everything's good.
Oh, that's all I love, man.
But no, so we talked a little bit. We had a men's sing Saturday, which was awesome.
Saturday was great.
And you and your father-in-law cooked for us, which was great.
Yep. Always love to do that.
It was so good. But got to hear a little bit of your story.
Sure.
But one thing I always like to talk to about people, because, we have people show up and all of a sudden they're just part of our family.
Right.
And so I was just going to ask you, like, how did you get to Reno?
Well, so in my past, I was a little church hurt when I first moved to Missouri from Georgia.
He's lived everywhere.
Military kid. But I moved out here to be closer to my in-laws, just for support with our kids. My biggest thing was finding a church that was non-denominational, and just accept people with open arms. My wife actually watched your YouTube channel for a while, and she would watch all the sermons on Sundays, and finally she convinced me to just take a leap of faith and come to church on Sunday. The first Sunday I came, you were preaching.
Sorry about that. Well, you came back, so that's good.
No, I loved it. I dove in head first. I think it was time.
Yeah.
I want my kids to be around it.
Right.
That's the biggest thing for me.
And I don't think we understand how important that is.
It's very important.
It's so important because, I made a reference in the sermon yesterday. We do a lot of things for our kids, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But man, they're gonna stand before God someday.
Yeah. I packed up living in a 4-bedroom house, moved out here, live in a smaller house now until we're adding on. But it's things you do out of love.
Yes.
But no, I came to Reno in renovation, and I love it. It was great. I was addicted from day one, and everyone's accepting and loving. I don't have anything bad.
And that's why I love I've got to know you better because you do show up on Wednesdays. And that's when as in church-wise, Wednesdays or special events, that's where you actually get to talk to people.
Yeah, Sunday's more of, a big crowd, and it's hard to take individuals.
And then like the meals and stuff like, Thanksgiving meals and stuff like that's where
so
I
busy.
always get,
It's so busy.
Yeah, it is. So I'm glad you guys are there. I get to do life with you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you somehow ended up at our crazy church, and you even came back after I preached.
Oh yeah, man.
That was good. But it's funny that you don't realize how much church hurt is out in the world.
It's bad.
It is.
It's hard to convince somebody after they've been church hurt to just take that leap of faith again. And it's hard. And we've been talking about a lot, about tithing recently in our church, and I was one of those that's kind of stingy.
Yeah.
And then recently I just turned everything over to Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, I turned everything over to God. I mean, everything is in my life is going great. You know?
Jim said it yesterday. Let me see if I can find it because I had it in my notes.
Yeah.
And what we was talking about was after the sermon. And what you said there is you gave everything over. I had it in my notes, but I did not say it, but I wish I would have. But it was something to the effect that if you finally get in the frame of mind that everything's his anyways,
Right.
that you're just lucky enough to be in charge of it here, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
And Jim is pushing 80.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable. I have a lot of respect for him, and he has a lot of truth in that statement. If
Yeah,
you ever
yeah.
realize it's all God's anyways,
Yep.
man, he's just blessing me and letting me take care of it now. Then it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, that's what we were talking about even in your sermon for Luke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going through there. I mean, if you're not willing to, you know, you kind of opened our eyes because the word hate in that verse, you know, a lot of people think, well, why would I hate my father? Why would I hate my mother?
Mm-hmm.
And so forth. But when you change it to what it actually means,
Right.
it just means loving Jesus more
Mm-hmm.
than, you know.
And that's one thing. And if you guys don't know, we were in the parables. If you've been with us, you know we are. And I was in what's the cost of discipleship in Luke 14. But, you know, that word, it's kind of, there's a longer story to this. But I started something new this week. And so I preached to a group of people on Zoom.
Okay.
And I said, I want to preach. I want honest feedback. And I've heard this really helps a sermon. And when I got done, all 4 people that sat and listened said, you got to figure out what that word means.
Yeah.
Because I didn't in my original sermon. I just read it.
Yeah.
You gotta get over everything.
Sure.
And then I looked in the Greek and I'm like, it's not hate. It's you got to love me more than that.
Yeah.
You still love them.
Yeah.
And it changed the whole sermon. And I was so glad I got that.
But you
info.
opened like my wife's eyes.
Yeah.
Because she said she struggled with that verse.
She's
she's been
people,
through. Well, she's been through the Bible many times, and she says when she gets to that verse, she just doesn't understand why we're supposed to hate them, and then she never really thought to look up what it meant in the Greek.
Right, and I think we get kind of, you know, it has been put into our language.
Yeah,
and so sometimes when something just doesn't feel right, I really do encourage people to try to look into it or ask somebody that maybe will look into it.
Sure.
Because that could easily turn off a new believer or somebody even thinking about it.
Right,
is that wording because it is heavy language.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you say you hate somebody, I mean that's up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But then, and you know, honestly, I didn't talk about it, but it's the exact same Greek word when they asked Jesus, "Hey, there's your mom and your brothers," and he's like, "No, they're not."
Yeah,
you know, and so it's the same basically language. There, it's not that it wasn't his mom and brothers.
Right.
It's, hey, this is my new family.
Sure.
But yeah, so no, and that was the whole message today is about the cost of discipleship.
Right.
Because if you are going to do this, there's things that change.
Yeah.
And you know that's just how that parable starts out is you're going to hate all these people, and basically what he's saying is you're going to have to love me more than them.
Sure.
And that's still hard to do.
Yeah.
That's hard for people.
It's very hard.
Yeah. And that's why I didn't even dive into it. Didn't have time. But one thing I wanted to talk about yesterday is, so like marriage. How long have you been married?
15 years.
15. Man, you don't seem that old. How old are you?
I'm 38.
You're getting up there. You're still young though. But anyways, like the thing to me that I've noticed in the last couple of years is when you talk about, you look at that verse right there where he says hate. It's not hate. You got to love me more.
Sure.
If you love him more, you're going to in turn love your wife more, especially if she's trying to love him more too.
Right.
You know, you look at it like a pyramid, like God's at the top.
Yeah.
And if you're both down here trying to love him more, you think about that pyramid, as you both go up it, you're going to be even tighter.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't have time to get into that, but it's so important.
Right.
If you both can get on the same page. Sadly, if you've been around this a while too, it doesn't seem like a husband and wife is ever on the same page, especially when it comes to the church or Bible or prayer but man, if you ever get there, it's a good place to be. But so we wasn't the story there, you know, in Luke 14. And, you know, another thing we talked about quite a bit was he was drawing that large crowd.
Right.
And, you know, they were following for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, like he was a celebrity, in my opinion. That's what they treated it as.
Mm-hmm.
And not that they, you know, and, you know, he even reached out and said, you know, you have to, you know, truly follow him.
Yes.
Not
and that's the thing, you know, and I mean, you've been around our church enough. And, of course, it's summertime. Your numbers are always down. And I'm okay with if people are walking away because they're not ready to do this, because we can do more with people, a few people that are really wanting to go all in than we can a whole group that's just showing up on Sundays just to check a box.
Yeah, and it's sad to see. I mean, you know, I've been to a lot of the Wednesdays, and I wish we would have more.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I enjoy Wednesdays.
Wednesdays to me is more. It's more of a chance to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and on Sunday you're not going to interrupt a sermon,
right?
You know?
No,
but on
it
a
doesn't
Wednesday,
go well,
right? But on a Wednesday, you know, we have a time for questions, and there's sometimes we have a good group of people who ask very good questions at the end, and I think Wednesdays to me are more informal, I guess, church.
Yeah.
We're still worshiping. I mean, we still studying in my mind is something that's very important.
Yeah.
I think Wednesdays are great. I just wish we had more people on a Wednesday.
And that's, to me, what Jesus talked about was that relational. You kind of are getting it on Wednesday nights a lot more than Sunday.
Sure.
But then if we can ever get to the point where we have groups of other people meeting and doing that, I think that's where the end game is.
Yeah,
in my mind.
Wednesday.
Right, outside of Wednesday. And I know we're busy people, but whatever you want to make important, you'll do.
Sure.
And, we see that in sports. I did it with my kids.
Yeah.
I would drop stuff to make sure they could go fish the bass tournaments and all that.
Yeah.
I had more in that than I did fish or in baseball and stuff. But
right.
But, it's whatever you want to make important in your life. And if you can ever get to that small group, 3 or 4 couples really meeting together and studying the Word, you talk about a powerful moment.
Yeah.
It can be really, really powerful. Because, here, that's what Jesus is talking about in this whole thing is basically what he's saying is you have all these people following him, but yet they don't want to do the things he's saying to do.
Yeah.
And so, every time he goes through a group of people, it's like, if you're going to be this way, you cannot be my disciple.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, he's literally challenging their motives.
Yeah.
Do not follow me unless you understand what discipleship means.
Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. It's not an easy walk.
Yeah.
It is tough at times. And then when you get into true discipleship, even like one-on-one or, if you think about a church wants a growth chart that just starts here and you just keep growing. It just keeps going up. Sure. Which obviously, sure, it's what we're looking for, right?
Okay.
But then you look at Jesus's growth chart and it was, he picked 12 and then he had like 50 and then 100 that he sent out and then he dropped back to 70 and then he's really back to 12.
Right.
And then he poured life into 3. So his chart is like this, where we think the churches should be like this.
Yeah. But it's kind of like what you said on Sunday. Are we really just trying to fill these seats?
Right. Exactly. Because if we are, that's not the right motive.
Right.
The whole motive is to reach them with the truth and then, be relational with them, to disciple them, to understand there's more.
Yeah. I mean, any church can really fill seats. I mean, if you really wanted to.
Yeah. There's ways of doing that.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is through entertainment.
Sure.
Everybody loves entertainment.
Agreed.
It's a billion-dollar industry, right?
Yeah.
Entertainment, and it does happen in the church setting a lot.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with some entertainment. You know what I mean? Like events, they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's churches have concerts. There's nothing wrong with that. But it just can't be that main focus.
I agree.
Because I think you're just leaving people wanting more.
Sure.
And that's what Jesus is basically saying here, in the scripture. And so I have a lot of people that I thought it was crazy. I don't know if you filled one out or not. I didn't care who did or didn't, but I literally had 60 different responses to that question.
Yeah. It's hard.
And it is hard. And that's truly what I wanted.
Sure.
Was it in their own words, their own thoughts. And there was a lot that had the right base. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There was. But then I got to think about that, man. We're wanting these people to go in the same direction, and they have 60 different ideas.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like stepping on an anthill and telling all the ants to go one way. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's kind of the metaphor in my head. I mean, I really think that, we all want to do the right thing as far as discipleship goes, but, a lot of people don't know where to take the first step.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%. And that's where, yesterday I had that slide. I'm like, we'll take the blame on some of this.
Sure.
And,
I agree.
And that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we get to the next step? We're working through that.
Right.
It'll be a work in progress. It'll be slow.
Right.
It'll cost.
Yeah.
It'll be painful. All those things. But in the long run, it will be good.
Yeah.
Because that's what Jesus set it up for.
Sure.
And he talks about there, like that verse in 27, who does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. With that, and there's another scripture, it says, take up your own cross and follow me. And we have so many believers throw that around, but I don't think we really understand the weight of that statement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to carry your own cross, some of my notes I wrote was accepting shame for belonging to Jesus, obeying Christ despite suffering, letting go of the demand for comfort. A lot of people gave up,
Yes.
And then remaining faithful even when obedience is costly. So, I mean, in my mind, it's a lot. I mean, you have to be willing to give up everything.
Right. And that's the thing, like, I want people to, it sounds like, okay, my whole world's going to change. Well, honestly, if you go all in, it will.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Yes.
And yeah, you may lose family because you can't be around them, but you get new family.
Yep.
But no, I agree to all those things you just said. They're so huge. If you think about those disciples when he called them, he literally said, you either go right now or you don't go at all.
Right.
And one said, I got to go bury my dad. Well, we think that's a funeral. It's not.
No.
That means he goes and stays with his dad till he dies.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, no, follow me now.
Right.
Or just forget it.
Yeah.
And so they did. They dropped everything and went after him.
Yeah.
And that's what he called his disciples. And I mean, that's what he calls us to do too.
Yeah.
That all in's a different thing. And I don't think, I said in my notes, you have to make a decision to go all in and go after him.
Right.
To carry your own cross. But I don't think all in's ever completed.
Sure.
Do you agree with me on that?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. I think it's a all in process.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, just like in your day-to-day life, I mean, you can, God forbid somebody, strikes lottery, then what? You're still supposed to, and that's just a monetary thing. I'm not going to say money,
right.
But you know what I'm trying to say? You still have to be all in. And I think we still grow each and every day, giving up more and more of ourselves, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. And that's true. And like I said, we call it sanctification. It's just a huge word for trying to be more Christ-like every day. And there's so many people just want to check that box. Sure.
Sure.
I went to church. I feel good about myself.
Yeah.
You don't feel real good about yourself leaving our church sometimes if you have that mentality.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that. And I mean, don't get me wrong.
Sometimes we need that, though.
Yeah. Not every message should just beat you down. Some of them should pick you up. But
yeah.
Next week, we're going to be in the 10 virgins, I believe.
Yeah.
And so it'll be all about Jesus coming back for us. So that should, as believers, should fire us up.
Yeah.
So that'll be a little bit easier possibly to hear.
Yeah.
But no, it's such a big deal, this discipleship. And I mean, we all want to see Jesus' crazy movements.
Sure.
But yet we didn't do half the things he told us to do.
I agree.
And everything he did was relational. And that's where I'm getting in my life, where it's all relational. He's talking about in verse 28 through 30, he's sitting there, he's talking about this builder. Yep. I do this. I don't know. I know you do construction. Yep. You said you just got done doing a heating and air job.
Yeah.
I never weigh my cost enough when I start a project.
No.
I actually look like this fool quite too often. I do. I look like they start to ridicule me when I'm about halfway done. I'm like, hey, I'm out of money.
We need more.
Yeah. He just walked into my house for the first time. We remodeled this house from the ground up.
Yeah.
And had no clue what it was going to cost.
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly what he's saying. You should prepare. You should know if you're going to call yourself this Christian, it's going to cost this, and you better be ready.
Yeah.
But the rewards are there, and that's the thing. He went on to the rest of that in 30 and 32. It's almost the same thing. We're talking about that king and battle and stuff.
Right.
One thing I think about in 29, you've been around a little bit, 27 through 30, and you've seen, I talked about those, when did you accept Christ in your life?
So I actually did it right before I was baptized last summer.
Okay.
But I mean, a little earlier than that, I was at the church for at least about 3 or 4 months, consistently. But June of last year is when I actually got baptized. Yeah. We did it down at the creek.
Yeah, I was there for that one.
Yep.
And so we see what we call infant Christians on that wheel, but in your process, I don't care what your age. When you first get saved, you're an infant.
Sure.
Now there is some, I'd say there is some that might even kind of skip that step because they're like me, grew up in it, but didn't accept Christ till I was much older because I was an idiot. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that on Sunday, this coming Sunday. It's in my notes right now.
Yeah.
But for the infants, but they're the ones on fire. Yeah. And they're the ones that are fun to be around.
Right.
But then I didn't even talk about it yesterday. I just didn't feel like it. I had it in my notes. So I didn't feel like it was right. But we also see way too often where those infants are given a platform or a microphone, and then they fall, and they fall hard.
Yes.
And that's I read this story, right, the one we just talked about there in 28 through 30.
Right.
Right there on 28 through 30, calculate the cost. If he's not able to finish, they ridicule him. We would use the word hypocrite, or the world would.
Right.
But I've seen too many people, and that's why we're very careful on who we let speak, especially on a Sunday.
Oh, I agree.
Even on a Wednesday, we have some ministries that allow people a little earlier.
Sure.
Like bounce back and stuff, but they still like, there's a process. They're not just going to let somebody have
a microphone and say, "Here you go."
No, but even at that, it can still go south, and if it does, they fall hard.
Right.
And we've seen some people really get lost back in that old world, that
Sure.
old life.
I agree.
And I look at this scripture, and I'm like, this is who Jesus is talking about.
Yeah.
We see these people, I don't know if you've ever been to Encounter, but we see like Encounter reaches a lot of people in a broken spot.
Right.
But then when they get home, they just can't figure it out
Sure.
because they don't have that discipleship group, that small group, just something to get them through. And you see them falling, and people literally make fun of them.
Right.
And it's sad,
Yeah.
but that's what the world does.
Yeah.
And that's what I see in that story there in the middle. Because like I said, Jesus is just trying to hit every group there is with these stories. It's saying like, hey, if you can't do this, this is what you're going to look like. And he's right.
Yeah. So like one of these I wrote down, I put, Jesus does not want people to make shallow promises during a moment of emotion and then abandon him when obedience becomes difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So, people, like you said, are on fire, and then they start to fizzle out because, they don't have that backbone of help.
No. And that's what I deal with and struggle with is, I don't really struggle with once saved, always saved. We're
Sure.
non-denominational. We don't talk about it a lot because I think it's a moot point, because I think if you are truly saved, you're always saved.
Sure.
Can you absolutely deny it and walk away? I'm not saying you can't.
Sure.
We don't understand God's grace, so
Right.
maybe we can't. But what I will say is truly saved, always saved.
Sure.
I see a lot of people, I think, make an emotional decision
Yeah.
where it might not be sincere, or they might not understand the cost, and then, like you said, it just fizzles out so fast. And then those are the ones I always often wonder, like, okay, did you make a real decision, or was it just emotional?
Sure.
Because listen, I can play the right music, and I can make the right scene.
Yeah. To make somebody want to do it.
You can really set the scene
Sure.
for that emotional, and that to me,
But
that's
where's their heart?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
to me,
the
that's a
main thing.
really dangerous thing to try to do, because I've always said, if a man can talk you into getting saved, if I can talk you into it all by myself, a man can talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Which means you didn't ever get it.
Right.
Because when he comes in, something changes.
Yeah.
And you were older, so you understand even more than a kid accepting Christ. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's like our kids. So everyone's, and nothing against people choosing, when their kids are baptized or how that goes. But something me and my wife always talked about was, they need to be old enough to make their own decision. Truly accept, Jesus as their Lord and Savior. I mean, my daughter, loves church.
Yeah.
She dances every Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
She's, just a great all-around kid. She's on fire for Jesus.
Right.
Sundays, Wednesdays, all she listens to is worship music. And that
Right.
kid is on fire. But, if she said she wanted to be baptized today at 6, I don't think, in my mind, that's a good time.
Yep.
So.
No, I agree. I think it's awesome to let them. We have another family in the church that has seen a bunch of. My wife walking by caught my attention. Make sure it wasn't a bear out here getting in Matt's car.
Hey, you're good. I live out in the woods too.
Yeah. So, we've had another family in the church that's had a lot of baptisms, a lot of change in their family just rapidly. And they have a young girl, and she's wanting to get baptized. And the dad's just like you.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, I'm not saying no, but
Yeah.
I want this to be your decision and not because you've seen this person and this person and this person,
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying that's wrong.
No,
people make their own
absolutely.
decisions. I just think, and then you start thinking the game of, well, what age?
Yeah.
And it's hard. But
That's the thing. Everybody asks, what's age accountability? I don't know.
Yep, that's the same.
honestly,
it doesn't say it in the Bible.
It
exactly.
doesn't say it.
No.
And if you look at Jewish tradition, you're talking 14 to 18.
Yeah.
Which, you know this. Well, you'll probably agree with me 100%. A man don't get his brain back till he's about 25.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
I don't mean that's accountability, but
Yes, I know.
We really don't.
Right.
But no, honestly, I think back a couple of years ago, we had a phone call from a friend, and their daughter was really wanting to get baptized, and she was actually probably 10.
Okay.
And their pastor wouldn't do it.
Right.
And like, would you do it? I'm like, I will after I talk with her.
Sure.
And so they came over to the house. We talked. I had no doubt she was doing this because she knew Christ. She was ready.
Yeah.
We went to the creek and we did it. You know,
Right.
all the family showed up. But like you said, it was her decision.
Right.
It was nothing that drove it. No emotional. Just it was time.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, and that could happen
And
at
that's
different
amazing.
ages.
Like I'm all for it. I mean, I just think, you know, at 6, I don't think she's ready.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she, like I said, she's on fire for church, and you know, she's on fire for Jesus. But I think at 6 is just a little, in my mind, a little too soon.
Yeah. And here's that will we were talking about.
Yep.
So you get born again, you're dead. We're all dead.
Right.
And then we all hopefully, whoever, believers accept Christ, and then you're this infant. Man, they are fun. They're on fire.
Right.
And there's a lot to this will. If you guys have never seen it, you can look it up. It's you probably would put discipleship will or Jim Putman. He came up with it. But there's a lot in it. It shows basically how we should do this life and, you know, sanctification and growing. You go from an infant to a child. It's just like us. Right. But this doesn't mean ages. This means maturity.
Yeah, your walk.
Yep, spiritual maturity. There's some other versions of this that even give really good, you know, you can see here, you become an infant and you share your life. And that's what a lot of new Christians do. Yep. It's all they know. They don't know the word.
Sure.
They can't go teach the Bible.
Right.
So they just share what they've been through. They share new truths that they're learning from the Bible because they're usually hungry. And then they usually share in hobbies. And then, like I said, they want to move on. You start connecting more, you know, connect to others. That's those small group, that relational church, Wednesday nights.
Saturdays, first Saturday of the month.
Yeah, men's group. And then, like I said, it's just everything here. But once again, it's kind of like the sermon. Everything costs something. Because growth ends up costing something if you want it.
Right.
And then Jesus goes on there in the original story and starts talking about this king going to battle. Yeah. And I love this part too, you know. Like, it's so crazy how the stuff back then even resonates now. Right. He's like, the guy, king going to battle, does he even consider if he's strong enough? Right. And he's not. No. I mean, it reads he's not.
Yeah, it says he's not.
He's got 10,000 to 20.
Opposing 20,
yeah. But that's what I love, because he says he sends a delegation in to ask, you know. And we've seen it so many times. These people get saved on fire, want to go save all their brothers at the bar or at the trap house, and they go back in, and they're not strong enough, and they lose that battle. And you know, to me, this is just Jesus saying, "Hey, that's not for you to go. You send somebody else. Right? You know, you send somebody more seasoned, somebody that can handle it. Maybe somebody that's never even had that problem. Yeah. You know, I could go into a meth house and it not bother me a bit. I've never had that issue. Right. I did drink. It wouldn't be hard for me now. Right. At one point, it would have been. Yeah. But not now. You know, I've been way far enough from it. Yeah. But I think that's what Jesus is saying. He's just literally hitting. That's what I love. He's hitting like every group there is. Yeah. Of these believers.
Yeah. He's in that parable with the king. He's basically saying the king has to surrender. Mm-hmm. So something I wrote down was this can be understood as a picture of humanity's position before God. We cannot successfully oppose God, outlast him, or establish our own terms. We must surrender before him. Mm-hmm. And then the question, and what I wrote below that was, the question is not merely, can I fit Jesus into my life? It's, will I surrender my life to Jesus? Mm-hmm. And I think that's something a lot of people struggle with.
Oh, absolutely.
Their fleshly body,
pride,
everything.
All those things.
It's terrible. It was so hard in the beginning. Yeah. And to just put everything aside and just have that leap of faith and know that, whatever happens is meant to happen and it's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes on there. That's what I mean. He's hit all these groups. And he's like, so none of you can be my disciples. Mm-hmm. None of you that do these things or not go all in, not give up everything. And, we talked about a minute ago, the cross the statement he made. And he's like, if you don't get that, I'll just say it this way. You got to give up all your possessions. Right. And, I thought about that. This came up Sunday. Yeah. At the men's thing. Yeah. Somebody said, what's it take to carry your cross? And I'm like, seriously, you guys have been reading my notes.
Yeah, that's what you said on Saturday morning.
Yeah. And I said, you got to give up all your possessions. Right. You can't hold on to this if you're holding on to all the worldly.
And you literally said, I'm doing the sermon on Sunday. And it was just so weird that it was on Tyler's mind.
I know.
And then, then even the guys were asking the questions that were literally on your notes.
Oh, yeah. And he would hit some of my scripture. And I'm like, okay, he's hacked into my Google account because he's got my notes.
Right.
But no, that's what I love. And I'm being honest. 2 weeks ago when I asked the question, was a disciple, I had no clue I was going to do this.
Yeah.
Now, after putting those together, did that help drive me towards this parable? Probably.
Right.
But at the time, I really didn't realize, hey, this is all going to come together.
Yeah.
You know, this is all going to come together for this reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing, you know, if you want to be his disciple, he's saying you got to give up all this worldly. And once again, it's not that you're giving up. I tell people all the time, it's not that we're going to sell everything and move to Guyana together. Yeah. But we are supposed to do this together.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I wrote down. It says, a disciple may continue possessing something, but that possession no longer possesses the disciple.
Dude, that's good.
And then below
see, that would have went good in my notes.
So, and then below it, I wrote, the attitude has to become, everything I have belongs to God. He may tell me how to use it, share it, give it away, or let it go.
Yeah.
And I think that's if you're really thinking about your inner self, you have to be willing to let go of a lot of things.
You do.
You know, we talked about Saturday about emotions.
Yeah.
You know, and
Saturday was really good.
Yeah, it was good. It was, and I thought it was gonna be a small group, and we ended up having 15. I even told Dad, I said, "I'm glad you made a little extra food there." Man.
I started praying over your food. I'm like, "Dear Lord, make this food go farther."
Yep.
You fed 5,000. You can feed 15. I know you can.
Yeah.
No, you guys had plenty.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good group, and it was funny because we both were expecting less.
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
Probably planned for
well,
less.
no, I even thought because I knew most of the guys were on
going
on the mission trip.
Most of them had left that morning.
And then we had a couple of new people come, and I was like, "Okay, great, let's go."
Yeah,
like
let's go.
I wait. Me and Dad waited to eat until everybody else.
I did
went,
too.
I was like,
and I don't typically eat breakfast,
me
so
neither.
I don't. If I had to miss, now I did end up eating because there was some left over.
Yeah,
but no, it was good and it was awesome because once again it was just like, okay, God, this is exactly where you want me tomorrow,
right?
Because everything we're talking about today,
everything on Saturday lined up for your Sunday, and even when you were going through it Sunday, I was like, okay, we talked about that Saturday, but then you went a little deeper, you know, and then like I said, Sunday really resonated with me, on just a discipleship piece, and not just that, about being a good Christian versus being a disciple. I mean, I feel like you can be a good Christian.
Absolutely.
You can attend church on Sunday. You can come to church on Wednesday. You can be in your scripture.
Oh yeah.
But where do you cross that line to becoming a disciple of Jesus?
Right. Where do you cross the line to do what he said to do?
Correct.
You know, like I said, the problem is I have people all the time like I'm fine by myself. I don't need the church. I can study the scripture.
Sure.
I'm a believer, and I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're not doing those things. But then what do you do with the Great Commission?
Right.
Because he said
we're called to do so.
Go make disciples. He didn't say go off and study alone. That's how good cults get started.
Yep.
But he didn't say that. He said this is a relational go make disciples who make disciples.
Right.
And that's how you spread the good news. And that's another thing, you know, and the church is still important. That's why I hope I never make people understand that the Sunday is important because that's where we come together. We arm up. We care for each other. Yep. Prayer, all that things. And we have to have that.
Yes.
But then we forget the go part a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
We do. And that's okay. It's part of the church has done this for years. It's nothing new.
Right.
Like this has been going on since Bible times.
Yeah.
You know, they wasn't getting it right 10 years after Jesus was gone.
Sure.
So I don't just downgrade the church at all. Like it's just, we just got to focus on Jesus's methods and his teachings.
Right.
And try to do what he said to do.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but for me, even in a small group, you know, that we share scripture and stuff back and forth in a small group, you know, family, friends. And to me, when I find something that really strives home for me, it makes me feel great to share it with somebody. Or even when I find something, you know, just like, you know, the verse about hating, you know, your family. And when you find out what it actually is supposed to mean, it's like a light bulb goes off and it makes you feel good that you're, you know, helping other people learn. Yeah. You know, in my mind.
Yeah. There's several scriptures out there people have trouble with, but I think if they study them enough, they'll realize what his heart was in it. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, everything's been turned into where we can read it in English. Right. I can't read Greek. I can't read Hebrew. I would like to, but I don't need to necessarily because I still believe this has been translated. Yeah. I mean, I believe God let it be translated what it should be. I agree. It's just sometimes we got to study when it doesn't seem right. Yeah. Because if it doesn't show his character, we're misunderstanding what it says. Yeah. Basically.
I agree.
And then 34, I did not realize one of my addictions is biblical.
Your soul.
Yes. And so in verse 34, I had a lot of fun with this with my wife because she thinks I eat too much salt, but salt's good. It says it.
Right.
I'm not taking
right
it out
there.
of context.
It's in the Bible.
Yeah, it's
gotta be
biblical. But I got to think about it. If it's been tasteless, what we season. You think about, you throw it out immediately.
Right. There's no point in keeping it.
We both cook a lot. We
Yeah.
both smoke meats and
Smoke
stuff.
meat, yeah.
I mean, if you got salt that's no good, it's literally just a grainy substance that's in the way.
Yeah. There's no point in having
No, there's no point at all,
Right.
And Matthew talks about we're the salt of the earth. We're called that.
Yeah.
And we're called to be the salt and the light, But it's only good if it has taste.
Agreed.
And honestly, this was another part of the sermon that just really hit home for me was this one. And I not just jokingly about the salt and stuff, but once I had somebody chime in on my group, and actually she didn't chime in. She sent something later.
Right.
And in her notes it says hearts have to be tenderized by the salt. And so then I thought, okay, what does salt do? If we're called to be the salt, so then I just went and Googled, what's salt do? And this was the top ones, what I put on my slide.
Yeah.
And then think about this as a believer. If we're called salt, it purifies,
Mm-hmm.
it preserves, it enhances, blocks bitterness,
Right.
balances water. Couldn't really figure out what that could be in our walk. Maybe you can. Cleans stains and puts out small fires, and then of course tenderizes.
Right.
And if that's a believer's salt, it's amazing that it's really us that is still keeping this world together through all those things.
Yeah.
Like that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Is like, a lot of people say, well, when the end comes, it says that the restrainer's taken away. And everybody's like, well, that's the Holy Spirit. And I argue that that's us.
Right.
Because I look at this, we're called the salt of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're only the salt because of the Holy Spirit.
Right.
We can only be these things. But I think, we are the change that's here.
Yeah.
By letting the Holy Spirit work through us, letting us use this as salt, to tenderize the lost, to purify, all these things.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I do. I think it's pretty cool thing there. Because like you said, a lost person, sure, they can find Christ, but they almost always find it through another believer.
Yeah.
Through their actions more than probably even what they say. But I say it all the time, this world is searching. They're dying and searching for something, and we got it.
Yeah.
If we act like it.
Yeah.
But we got to act like the salt of the world. We got to act like these things.
Yeah. Something I wrote down was a disciple who refuses the cost of following Jesus is like salt without saltiness, outward present, but no longer fulfilling the purpose of a disciple.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of, someone who's, was discipling people or a person and just kind of fizzled it out and stopped and then turned back into, kind of like we showed on the chart.
Yeah.
Actually falling backwards.
You can. And that's the thing about that chart. I 100% believe we will never achieve nothing.
Right.
Like you can't, in this walk, there's no, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I know it's sad to say, but we never finish the race until we get there.
I agree.
And the same way with that
I think
will.
we're never done.
And I've said it many times, but you're either following Christ. There is no neutral.
Right.
You're either following Christ or you're going away from Christ.
Right.
I'm not going to say you're following the enemy. That's kind of a harsh statement.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying you're either going towards him or you're going away from him. There's no just cruising.
Yeah.
I've cruised so many times in my life. And when I set it on cruise, I usually end up in a wreck.
Sure.
Something usually just trashes my life to get me back
Yeah.
going the right way. But no, absolutely. I agree 100% with that. And like you said, it goes on there in 34. It says, when it's become tasteless, what would be seasoned? And I think about tasteless, and you said it a minute ago, and I agree with you. There's people that are believers that are not disciples.
Mm-hmm.
But you show me a really good disciple of Christ, and I'll promise you they're a believer.
Yes.
And I know, but I think you could be a believer and not be a disciple. And to me, that tasteless is like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I got my fire insurance.
Yeah. Almost like being a lukewarm Christian.
Yeah. That's
and
exactly
I hate saying that, but that's, you know.
I haven't heard that term in a while. It's kind of went away, but no, I
Yeah.
agree. That's exactly what
Yeah.
it's saying here. And then Jesus, he goes on to talk about what useless is, It's basically, if you're not going to do these things for me,
Right.
if you're going to be tasteless, if you're not going to be the salt like you called to be, you're useless.
Yeah.
And I mean, you talk about like just laying it out here. Like for the soil or the manure.
Right.
Like, you're not even good for poop.
Yeah.
Like,
And he said, throw
I
it out.
just throw it out. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy that's how he finishes this.
Yeah. And so I wrote below that verse was that this is severe language. Jesus is warning against claiming the identity of a disciple while refusing the loyalty, sacrifice, and obedience that discipleship requires. Then the passage ends with, whoever has ears to hear, let them hear.
Yeah, he ends lots of stories that way, especially the parables.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just you're that useless. Like, I mean, it's crazy to me that he even bring in that word manure there to really make you understand how worthless he thinks it is.
Right.
When you're going to take something so precious, what he did for you, and do nothing with it.
Yeah, but the word manure resonates even now.
Yeah.
So so we look through the Bible of things that in their time, what's something that would resonate with us, and I think that word will always resonate. That's something that's just useless.
Yeah, and I honestly, I think about yesterday, the whole sermon. It did resonate with a lot of people. I had a lot of great conversations, and I just think everything that keeps coming to my mind and coming out my mouth is intentionality.
Right.
It's so huge in this walk to be intentional. And I told you guys about that, what happened at our conference, that little exercise with us 12. And I told Tara before I started, I went and got that tennis ball from Tina. I said, hey, I need a tennis ball for a sermon. She's like, well, I got one. I said, I just need a ball. She's like, I got a tennis ball. I'm like, yeah, that'll work. And Tara's like, what are you doing with that? I'm like, well, I think I'll do that thing, maybe.
Yeah.
She's like, well, who you done it with? I said, no idea.
No clue. Yeah.
No idea. And, that's something I was needing to say to that gentleman for a long, long time. He literally is one of the ones that started the church with us.
Yeah.
He's been here the whole time. He's one of those guys. He's like this stoic, quiet. I mean, he was there on Saturday.
Yes.
He's a phenomenal dude. And, I've been wanting to say that for a long time. I thought, now's the time. But we should do that all the time. Like, not that, like, we don't have to be that serious about it. But we should be that intentional about it.
Yeah.
And it could really change this whole thing we call discipleship or doing life together.
Yeah.
They could really have a huge impact.
Yeah. I wrote down a couple of things about, the difference between salvation and discipleship.
Yeah.
Just because we were talking about, can you be, you can be a good Christian, but not be a disciple. So one of the things I wrote down, is grace is free, but following Christ is costly. Jesus welcomes sinners freely. We do not clean ourselves up before coming to him, but the Jesus who forgives us always calls us to follow him. So we should not separate these so completely that someone can supposedly receive Jesus as Savior while permanently refusing him as the Lord. So it's just different things. And like I said, you can be a great Christian, but we are called to be disciples.
We're called to be more. We really are.
So,
and, I said this yesterday. Not finished with this slide, but I put this slide up here because everybody wants to see growth in their life.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to see growth, that means something's going to change. You think about your life in the last couple of years.
Oh, it's been really changed.
Yeah. And then when you see change, you literally, there's going to be some kind of loss.
Yep.
Something's like, so to me, the loss would be more worldly things. Clearly, when you start changing for the Lord, you start losing worldly things, which you think might be very important.
Right.
In the moment, then you realize they're not.
Sure.
And so then if you have loss, it's pain. And so, people want to see growth all the time, but they don't want the pain, but that's just part of it.
It's part of the process.
Right. And, Logan would talk to me about weightlifting. You don't get bigger without tearing down the muscle.
Yeah.
And that's just, I said yesterday, you can tell I work out. But, it's true that you don't make more muscle unless you tear everything down. And this walk is just like that.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to see growth in our lives, we're going to see growth in our church, our ministries, our families, there will be pain.
Yeah.
We just got to be ready for it and understand it's coming.
Yep.
And that's what each other's for, too.
Right. I wrote down, he does not say the cost is meaningless. He is saying that he is worth the cost. I mean, I was talking to my father-in-law today. Are you willing to give up everything? If it was asked of you, if Jesus was here with you and he said, I want you to give up everything right now.
Yeah.
Would you?
And
it's so hard because your flesh tells you.
Your flesh tells you absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So-
it is. And and that's why I want you to understand. I'll be the first to tell you I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, but I hope to get there. Just continue to do
Right.
better.
Right.
But once again, it's that growth, which means things are going to change. Things
Yeah.
are going to hurt. But I read the Great Commission, and it's not an option. It doesn't say, if you'd like, go make disciples.
Yeah.
He said to go do it.
Yeah.
And then if you really study the Bible, everything's relational.
Yeah.
Everything in it is about relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we failed a little bit because it's hard. Relationships are hard.
Yeah. We, as human nature, we
Mm-hmm.
talked about that a little bit on Saturday.
Yeah.
That human nature kind of, it's awkward.
Yeah, it is.
Having some conversations with people can be awkward.
Yeah, and some of those conversations are tough. If you're
Yeah.
doing true discipleship,
Yes.
I've had some tough ones with some people. Some of it went good, some of it didn't. Like some of them, I don't see them anymore. But if you have to say the truth, you have to say it,
Right.
as long as it lines up biblically,
Yeah.
or what they need for their for their good. But it still ain't easy,
Yeah.
Now, one thing that blew my mind, Tara's like, I can't believe you didn't make Steve repeat what you said. I'm like, listen, I wasn't going to do that to him.
Yeah.
But
You caught him off guard.
oh, I did.
But
But
he was way off guard.
yeah. But it was amazing in that group setting.
Mhm.
Nobody heard what the person said.
Yeah.
They got remotely close,
Right.
but they would answer back in what they thought of themselves.
Mhm.
I did the same thing.
I think we let our emotions in our mind
Mhm.
get the best of us.
Yeah. So
You've been married a long time.
yeah.
So let's say you say something
Oh,
and you don't mean it the way that it came out.
that was real well.
She heard it totally different.
Yeah.
And good luck.
Yeah. No, you're right. You got some things to work through at that point.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say you got a fight on your hands,
No.
but you got a fight on your hands. You got to work through some stuff. But no, it's very true. It's amazing how and the gentleman we had leading our class, his name was Moose. He was just unbelievable. Like honestly, I don't care how many things I would have said to you,
Mm-hmm.
he remembered every one of them, and he wasn't writing nothing down. And when you repeated back, if you missed some, he's like, "Nope, you're missing two more." Like,
Wow.
and he had it and he didn't know any of us.
Right.
And he had it every time, like to
Yeah.
the T. So I don't know if he had a eidetic memory. I really,
Some people are really good like that.
yeah.
Though.
He said it was all about intentional listening.
Okay.
But he's done this a long time.
But he's also leading a class.
yes,
Yeah.
he's done this a long time.
Right.
And he has been successful at it.
Right.
But he said that's honestly that goes back to the way human nature. Basically, they're going to answer the way they think of themselves. So
Yeah.
he said you can think about that just in conversation with people. They're not always hearing what you say.
Right.
They're hearing what they think you said.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, sometimes that gets us in trouble.
Sure.
And I think it gets us
Self-conscious,
in trouble as believers sometimes.
Mhm.
We may say what we think we're saying, and they're not hearing it that way.
Right.
And, we go back to that church hurt. That's where some of that happens.
Right.
And, man, I've been church hurt. I joke all the time. I've been kicked out of some good churches.
Yeah.
I mean, good ones. But honestly, once a person realizes you're not hurt by the church, you're hurt by people.
Right.
And that's just going to happen.
Yep.
Like me and Dustin's going to fail people. Like it's going to happen.
Sure.
And it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
But if people have a relationship, you can work through it.
Sure.
And that's what's been missing, I think, for so long.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate having you on. I
Yes,
kept
sir.
you long enough. You probably need to get home to your family.
Yeah.
But appreciate you coming on. I'm glad you showed up at our church, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad I get to call you a
I
brother.
love it, man. Love it.
Yeah. I'm glad I get to call you my brother, and glad we get to do life together. So
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate you, man.
We'll check you guys next time. See ya.
Bye.
God is always at work in you, restoring, renewing, and rebuilding. Thanks for listening to Renovation Conversations. Like and share, and we'll see you next time.